Good afternoon, everybody. This is Barry Fearon Joe here, and welcome along to you. And this is a while since we brought a video in the light to you. And to open the show today, I'd like to talk about children deliberately lighting bushfires. Now, to me, that is absolutely despicable and disrespectful. And people have lost their homes, their cars, and their livestock. And joining me now to discuss about people deliberately lighting bushfires is a very good afternoon and early evening to my outsider JM.
Hey Barry, and hey to all our viewers out there. Very glad to be here. Very important issue you've raised, Barry. Intentionally started fires are contribute to a huge proportion of bushfires, and it's very important that that's taken very seriously. And you mentioned children as well lighting those fires, and perhaps one of the places we need to start with that is education on fires.
Now, you may recall on Wednesday night on one of my other shows with my outsider kid, we did talk about getting prepared in case a bushfire does come near your house. And here's my outsider to tell you about getting prepared for a bushfire season and what you should do in preparation for evacuation.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. Something that I wish I knew more about myself. And it is very important to prepare because, as you know, um, they are becoming more increasingly common, um, and not just bushfires, but general house fires, electrical fires as well can start in the house. I know here, Barry, we have a very structured um, training that all staff were taught as our clients, which has to be properly adhered to. What do you know of evacuations, Barry, in bushfire circumstances?
Well, in order to prepare for evacuation, you must always act quickly and get your possessions packed and your family in the car as quickly as possible because the state emergency service will be knocking on the door as well as police and they will tell you to move. And when we say move, we mean move it. Here's my outsider.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. That's right. It's important to, I suppose, think in advance. If you live in an area that's prone to bushfires, think in advance about, you know, how you will go about packing if you're forced to do it quickly, what you'll leave behind, what decisions you'll have to make in terms of what you take with you.
Well, such as canned food and bread and no perishable foods like milk, unless you take condensed milk, of course. Here's my outsider.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. Of course, when you leave your home in the state, in the case of a bushfire, there's no real understanding of how long it will be before you can return. So you may need to take things like food and
And such as your clothes, some books, and a talking radio, and a couple of packets of spare batteries as well for this. Here's my outsider.
absolutely, yeah, there's the sort of essentials that you do need to take with you. Certain equipment, like you mentioned, like perhaps torches and phones, so you can communicate with your family.
And also, keep matches and kerosene out of the reach of children, because if the kerosene lamp gets knocked over, it can go bang.
Mm.
Here's my offsider.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. As you say, it's very important to keep certain things out of reach of children, dangerous objects. Obviously, with the potential of lighting a fire, it would be.
Now, the thing that really gets me is when children are caught playing around with matches and lighters and starting the bushfires and destroying the bush. We mentioned this last week on on Wednesday, in fact, and there are a lot of idiots out there at the moment not having respect for anybody but themselves when it comes to bushfires. Here's my offside.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Barry. So it comes down to respect and understanding and education, doesn't it? And you think about people lighting fires, they're not educated enough about the repercussions of starting bushfires, and they're certainly not being respectful to their local environment or to anyone who lives in that area.
And throwing a lit cigarette out of the car too, that can start a bushfire, as well as the change of direction, a thunderstorm, and you may recall the Blue Mountains fire in 2013. Here's my offsider.
Absolutely, Barry. All things that can start so simply from the tossing of a cigarette. Absolutely. And all flammable objects as well. If you go camping and you start a fire, make sure you do so in a safe way and probably put it out before you leave.
And also, if you are having a fireworks display too, make sure you have a bucket handy too to throw over the embers, and never put fireworks in pockets. Here's my offsider.
No, absolutely not. That's right. Very dangerous. In the first instance, to play with fireworks at all. Don't do so unless you've been taught how to use them. And absolutely.
The last thing we'd like to talk about is gambling. Uh, we did bring this up on the show before, so we're going to touch a little bit on gambling before we head off into the evening. If you are at a club, please do not borrow money from anybody to play the poker machines, and only set yourself a limit. Here's my offsider to tell you what we discussed about gambling the last time.
Absolutely, Barry. As we know, gambling can be an addiction for some people. And if you're one of those people that has an addictive personality or can easily become addicted to things, that's where you do need to set up barriers or limits. As you mentioned, Barry, don't allow yourself to become vulnerable to your addiction. If you are addicted to gambling, you may need to take out some cash and just vow to not go any further than the amount of cash you've taken out.
And never allow anybody to know your PIN if you are near an automatic teller machine. Here's my offsider.
Absolutely, Barry. Yeah, it's important to be very discreet about when you're using an ATM. It's a common courtesy for people behind you in the line to stand back, but it might be necessary that you protect um, the numbers that you're punching in as well.
Before we do go today, just a reminder, don't be an idiot and light bushfires, please, because the fires have enough on their plate. So here's my outsider to tell you once more before we go into the closing message.
Thanks, Barry. That's right. Absolutely. As we've talked about, I suppose it comes back down to our emergency services message. They're not to be played with. They're there for real emergencies, and the fire brigade are no exception to that.
And the message before we go into the closing sequence, please don't be an arsonist this summer because the bushfire brigade are very busy and the same with the choppers. So don't fool around with them, please. Here's my outsider.
Thanks, Barry. That's absolutely right. It's important that they're not taken lightly and they're treated as what they're used for, emergency services. If you feel like what you are doing is potentially creating an emergency and risking starting a fire, then you know not to do it.
And before we go and say good afternoon and early evening, daylight saving does commence on the 6th of October. And don't forget to put your clock forward 1 hour before you go to bed on the 5th of October. So I will be giving you an update on that and daylight saving in the next video, but our closing message this early evening is please, the number that we always bring up at the end of each show, please don't call 000 unless you have an emergency like the bushfires. If you are in any need of help, please ring that number, but only in an emergency. And please be respectful of the call takers when you are on the phone to them. Here's my outsider for his closing message on this now.
Thanks, Barry. I'll keep my closing message very short and sweet. I agree with everything you say, Barry. It's important that these services are responding to emergencies. So remember to treat them with respect and help them help you.
And I will keep my closing message the same way. Please don't ring 000 for the fun of it because you are taking away the service that somebody really needs. And the ambulance service, the police, and the fire brigade have enough on their plates to deal with idiots who play with Triple O because it's not a game. And here's my outsider to say the same thing before we say farewell.
Absolutely. You've said it very well yourself there, Barry. It's not a game. It's not to be played with. It's to be taken very seriously.
And just a reminder before we do go once more, daylight saving, and here's my outsider now to tell you about it.
That's right, Barry. People should be reminded to move their clocks forward. And what date is it again, Barry?
The 6th of October, 2 a.m., 2 a.m. So 2 a.m. will become 3 a.m. So we will remind you of that on the next show. And, and, and this is where I'd like to close the show by saying that enjoy the longer evenings, enjoy the days, And next time on the show, we'll be talking about safety at the beach. And safety is important, guys, when you are at the beach. So don't just wander off and not tell anybody where you're going. Here's my outsider.
Absolutely not. And that can be really honestly applied to any situation. Don't be going off anywhere without telling people where you're going. Absolutely.
Well, that's it. That's it for this Sunday, the 15th of September. And tomorrow is the birthday of Channel 9 in Sydney. So happy birthday to Channel 9. It was born on this day in 1956 and it went to air at 7 p.m. on that night. We thank you for being with us on the show this afternoon and early evening. Thanks for your company today here on the show. And here's my outsider to farewell you with his closing message.
Thank you very much, Barry. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you to everyone who's watched today's show. We hope you've enjoyed it and learned something from it.
And please do comment on today's show and parents, please don't let your kids like bushfires. It really is a despicable thing. Here's my outsider to leave you with this quote as well as I have.
Absolutely, Barry. And as much as we can educate our kids on fire safety, it is important that we do keep potentially dangerous objects out of reach as well.
And we'll see you next time on the show. And here's my outsider to saying his farewell now.
And farewell to all our viewers who look forward, Barry and I look forward to our next show that we do together.
And the next show will be about daylight saving and some helpful summer tips and when to evacuate again. So we do look forward to your company then. But that's it. The time now is nearly 5:10 here, and I'm off to put today's show on YouTube. So if you'd like to watch it, please feel free to do so. But until then, viewers, it's bye bye, and here's my outsider.
Thanks. Sorry.
And here's my outsider to say his farewell right now.
Thanks very much, Barry. Of course, we look forward to speaking to you again, viewers, and we hope you enjoy this video.
And from myself, Barry Fair, and Joe Murphy, it's goodbye, good afternoon and early evening. This program is a production of Barry Fair and is produced and narrated by Barry Fair. And the date today is the 15th of the 9th, 2019, and the next show will be in a couple of weeks with my outsider, so we look forward to your company, man. But until then, have a good evening and bye bye.